So, after eons of speculation and zero evidence, we finally have proof that the Pope likes booty. Me and the Pope finally have something in common, and that is our desire for ass. Now, I know the first question you're probably gonna ask is, and the truth of the matter is, no, I'm not doing this for clout. I'm not trying to create some kind of situation which makes me look good. Because, as per the Pope's Instagram page, he likes ass. Because he liked a picture of somebody who had put up a booty pic. Now, obviously, we know for a fact that the Pope might not be the one running his own IG account, meaning that someone else is probably going to require holy water after this was found out. But I'm looking at it and it does kind of feel a bit odd, because I don't know whether to be intrigued at the fact that he liked a picture of ass, or the fact that he liked a picture of a grown female's ass. Normally we'd expect someone in the range of 7 to 10 years old, male. That one is the one that kind of seems more the Vatican's wheelhouse in terms of what they'd like from Instagram. But that being said, I'm guessing this is the first time he's had to say hallelujah when it's not during church or during some sort of a choir performance or something. And this is the first time he can say that he's feeling asthmatic and it won't be a sickness. But anyways, in as much as I'd like to continue gawking at the fact that, the Pope might actually like some booty, we have a podcast to do. So, in typical fashion, welcome to Break Time on West Side, your number one break time podcast, coming to you from Nairobi, Kenya. The man on the mic has been referred to as Dr. Love, but on cocaine. He is a man that was trying to find the G-spot but accidentally found the G-string. It is none other than your tall, dark and mildly handsome man, Sir Denver B. The show is Tweetstreet, where we take a deep dive into Twitter, pull up a couple of tweets that we find might be a little bit interesting to y'all, break them down here and there, and make some sense out of them. Now, as usual, the drill has always been super simple. And if you don't know the drill, I'm here to repeat it for you. But for those of y'all that know the drill, you can even say it with me. Once you see a tweet that you like and that you think we should probably discuss, you send it to my DMs at Bagaka the D. The B and the D are capital, because the nicest things are usually big. And I will break it down from there. You see it on Instagram, posted up as either a picture or a caption that's been taken somewhere. You can send it to the IG handle at Breaktime on Westside. If you catch it on Facebook as well, send it to the Breaktime on Westside Facebook page, and I will take it and handle it from there. Pretty simple, nothing too big. It's one of those things that you can do really quickly before you microwave your food, kind of like these 1 minute men. But anyways, before I get into the tweets of this week, I do have a bit of a complaint. Now, I remember I did an episode of Battle of the Sexes where I kind of called out a bunch of women who go out on dates just for the food. They go out on dates, they expect the guy to pay, and they do not provide much value for it. And it was all within the topic of whether we should abolish dates entirely. And in as much as I'd love to defend some of you, there are some of y'all that just do not seem to get the point that we're actually tired. Take for example the women that decide to go for a vacation or just a simple vacation or a road trip, and they don't want to bring in any financial input. They want to go there for free. And yes, I know some of y'all are already on your way to the road trip and you're listening to this. Some of y'all are planning to go on a road trip the following day. Some of y'all have been planning to go on a road trip for weeks. And the worst situation with some of these women is that they don't want to give anything in terms of finance, but when you try and get some at the end of the day, you're suddenly being called, oh, you're entitled to my body, blah, 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 this is not right. And the truth of the matter is, this is a value proposition. Think about it like that. This is a value proposition. It's not like we'll just go and tell our people, let's go on a trip and just blow all our money on them. Which, let's be honest, not a lot of people will do. Hell, the only way that I do such a thing and not expect anything in return is if I suddenly stumbled upon $1 billion right now. Then I wouldn't mind calling up a couple of my friends, maybe a babe or two I want to bang, and then take them out. And I'm sure for quite a number of people that's the case. So when someone is trying to take you out on a trip and you are expecting nothing to happen and you are going on an all expenses paid trip and it's a vacation or a staycation or just some regular kind of vacation, I am left to wonder which one of the screws in your head is loose. Because if someone is gonna take you out on a date, they expect something in return. They expect, probably move from first to second base, or at least move from square one to first base. If it's a trip, they're most definitely expecting to smash. Like, it's not even rocket science. They expect to smash. And the math is pretty simple. It's not even that hard. I come, I take you, we go on an all expense paid trip, and the value that I expect to get back isn't the fact that you have some taste in music. I don't care about your taste in music. What I am interested in is the value that your vagina provides. What people usually refer to as clitocurrency. And it's that simple. That's our ROI. That's our expected return on interest. That's all we want. If someone's taking you on an all expenses paid trip and it's somewhere far off, it's a road trip or something, it's a vacation, that's what they expect. If you're not pulling out a dime, you're gonna pay for it somehow. Now for some of us, it's clitocurrency. For others, it's more of pinocurrency. Just saying. I didn't have time to properly formulate that word, but I guess it works. Pinocurrency. And for others, there'll be something else that you will end up having to put in. Like maybe we expect you to do all the cooking because we don't feel like hiring our own chef. But at the end of it, in as much as we might be called entitled, I think the people that go in expecting stuff for free simply because they happen to have been born with a vagina, I'm not saying this to insult anyone, I am saying this because it is the truth. But anyways, let me stop sounding so salty and get on to the first tweet. A girl with beauty and brains is not a compliment. It's actually a stereotype against women. It basically suggests that on average, beautiful women are not intelligent. The fact that we never even hear "wow, handsome with brains" tells you everything you need to know. Now, I honestly don't even know how to answer this nicely because I honestly don't know how people overthink a compliment and turn it into an insult. Honestly, I've never really understood how it is people can take a compliment, something that's been made to flatter you, to fluff up your ego in a sense, something that's made out of goodwill, and then turned it into a mockery or an insult. I've never understood why some women do this. And honestly speaking, if some of the women that do this took the compliment pretty much the same exact way that a lot of them usually take dick, I'm sure the world would be a lot less salty of a place. And the truth of the matter is, it's a simple compliment. Just take it as that. We're not saying that on average or statistically, women who are beautiful are not intelligent. Obviously, there's some that are intelligent, there's some that aren't. And sometimes it's a matter of preference and, we're not exactly used to some incredibly beautiful women, some tens here and there, some dimes here and there being that fine. So obviously, when someone compliments you by saying that, beauty with brains, it's a good thing. It's like when you go out on a date and you call someone smart and then they suddenly take offense and they're like, what, you thought that you're going on a date with a daft person? No, you're not. That's not an insult. You complimented them and you expected them to take it as a compliment. It's sort of the same exact way when you listen to big women saying that they get offended when someone says for a big person you're incredibly beautiful. And yet that's a statement that's been made in goodwill. I still don't get it. People will automatically pull an insult out of a compliment, and for some reason it's like people actually want to do that because I see a lot more women and a lot more people in general taking it as of 2020. Like there's a lot of people that like to pull an insult from a compliment. And the truth of the matter is, it's a compliment. Just take it as a compliment. Don't overthink it. If you don't want to take the compliment, don't take it. But stop trying to turn it into an insult. If people stopped overthinking and just took the compliment as is or denied the compliment in its entirety, then the world would be a much simpler place. But someone wants to take a compliment and overthink it. Like, imagine if the Israelites were vegans and then Moses told them when they were in the wilderness that the Lord has promised them a land of milk and honey. Then all of a sudden you'd hear them busy complaining about the fact that a ton of cows must have been milked for that and they're not into carbs and they prefer vegetables. That would have been very annoying for Moses. So you think about it like that, and the idea of just taking a simple compliment as a compliment makes a lot more sense. It seems a lot easier. But anyways, before people start throwing rocks at their phones or just at me virtually, let me move it on to the next tweet. Although, before we get to the next tweet,
I know you're dying to continue the podcast you're currently listening to, but we have to interrupt your scheduled programming to bring you Sound Nation. We delve into music ranging from hip-hop to rumba, rock to bongo, and much more. We shall review new albums as well as fresh singles whilst paying homage to the sounds of the past. Find our episodes on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any other podcast streaming platforms.
Okay, next tweet. Polite reminder. A woman who is 25 and a man who is 25 are not age mates. How you choose to use this information is entirely up to you. Well, if this was a couple of years ago, I'd have probably agreed with it. But unfortunately, I have to disagree with this statement. Because maturity is a personal thing. Maturity is an individual thing. It's very hard to state that a certain group of people mature faster than a certain group of people, because maturity differs from person to person and is entirely based off of circumstance. Which is why I can comfortably say that I know women who are in their late 20s, early 30s, and they're still fairly childish. They still act like they're in their early 20s. And I know guys who are in their early to mid 20s that act like they're in their mid 30s. So to be honest, I actually think that people came up with this whole belief of age and maturity to justify women in their early to mid 20s going for much older guys. Because the whole belief around it was that a woman whose physical age was in the early 20s was about 4 to 5 years older mentally than the man of the same exact age. And it justified them wanting to settle down early and wanting to get married and get older mates a lot more. And the truth of the matter is, that's not entirely the case, because the reasons for a woman getting married early and wanting to settle down fairly early in their lives and get kids mainly is more of a societal thing. It's more of a thing of culture, because if you're in your mid to late 20s, that's actually the peak time to produce children. And usually after you've gone over 30, it becomes harder to get a husband as per the current society's standards for women, at least here within this region that I'm in. Now, obviously things can change, and obviously people can get married a little bit later, but you look at the fact that circumstances determine how early and how fast somebody matures, and it makes sense that some people will mature faster than others, while there's people who will barely ever mature no matter how old they're growing. If menopause wasn't an issue for a lot of women, and the idea of getting kids early enough was never really a big thing in society, then obviously women would mature a lot slower. Just the same way with guys, we're expected to provide and protect our families, which is why we prefer to create something out of ourselves before we choose to settle down and get married, and thus it looks like we're quote-unquote not mature because we probably enjoy our singlehood a little bit more. But anyways, however it is you want to take this statement and this belief is entirely up to you, but I honestly do not think that maturity is a matter of age or a matter of gender. People mature at their own individual times, on their own individual terms, dictated by circumstances. Anyways, on to the next tweet. There's someone who said that women usually put their all into their baby showers because they know that's the best it'll ever get. Okay, yeah, that's a burn. That's a serious burn. Can I agree to this? It's a bit hard. It's a bit hard to. But at the same time, I can see the logic in such a statement. Yes, obviously there's better days after the baby shower. When the baby comes, there's a lot of pain, but obviously seeing that baby for the first time must be an amazing feeling. And by all means, I've never been a mother. I am not a mother. I do not have the correct apparatus and, organs to be one. So I wouldn't exactly know how good or bad motherhood is. But at least I can say, after speaking to multiple mothers, that it's not exactly a fun experience. It's not the most fun experience. It's fulfilling, but it's not the most fun experience for a lot of people. So, of course, after the baby shower, stuff does kind of get hard because, the stomach's popped out. There's going to be cravings which were there before. But now you have to worry about bills, diapers, there's the issue of the baby daddy running away and becoming a deadbeat. There's all of those problems. And thus, I can see that, yes, to some degree, there is some justification for such a point actually making sense. Obviously, it's meant to burn, but I'm sure that people can have better days even after they've had kids. It's not easy, but it's possible. And from my very mild understanding, the only reason why women actually put their all into baby showers is because women like events. They like to dress up for stuff. They're always into dressing up and looking good and having exclusive parties and events just to make them look good and exclusive to a certain degree. You think I'm lying? Then don't forget the Don't Rush Challenge was this year when Corona hit. People weren't leaving their houses, but women automatically gave themselves an excuse to put on makeup and dress up in dresses, sometimes 2-3 different times, simply to fulfill an internet challenge. It's not like it was the ice bucket challenge and money would be donated for people with Alzheimer's or something. They were just doing it just to look good. Just saying. Anyways, on to our final tweet of the episode. And before I get into the tweet, I just need to state this. I did not mark these tweets as a way to attack women or to hit at them because it looks and it sounds like I purposefully did that. I honestly selected these tweets at random and some of them were sent by one or two of our listeners. So please do not crucify me. This was a matter of random selection that just so happened to be coincidentally not favoring a lot of women. But anyways, on to the tweet. When a man really wants you, you'll know. My girl received a bouquet of gorgeous luxury flowers from this guy. Get this, they're in different countries. Small gesture, but means a lot to us romantic women. Aww, I really don't know what to say. Besides, I can't agree with this. And I'm doing this in your favor, ladies. I am saying this in your favor because I know I haven't sounded that good over the past few tweets, and if you've been listening this far, I'm sure it must have touched a nerve here and there. And to be completely honest, I'm choosing to disagree with this, and it's entirely for your benefit. Now, let me explain. If you notice when a man really wants you, then that means that every single guy that you've thrown into the friend zone, ladies, I'm talking to you, every single guy you've thrown into the friend zone, you knew that they wanted you. And to some level, you probably knew that you were leading them on. These guys wanted to be with you. These guys were trying to do the most for you. These guys probably put in some work for you that they probably even should have. They decided to be the shoulder that you can lean on, even though they didn't end up being the dick that you could ride on. These guys did all of that, and you still threw them into the friend zone. And you are telling me that you did not know. Yet this person on Twitter clearly said that when a man really wants you, you'll know. Ladies, I am saying this again for your benefit. I cannot agree to this tweet. I honestly cannot. Because if I actually agree to this tweet, this would mean that you guys have been manipulating us into doing stuff for you, yet you're giving us nothing. You've been receiving girlfriend love and girlfriend affection and girlfriend priorities from a guy that you are not dating, and you have been doing that maliciously. You have not been caring about someone else's feelings, and yet they've been caring about yours. That is what you would be making me say if I actually choose to agree with this statement. And to be completely honest, I'm in a bit of a pickle because I really want to agree with this statement. I really want to agree with this tweet. But considering all the fire and salt I've been dropping this entire episode, I have to disagree with it. But anyways, I want to know your thoughts on this. Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? Do you sense that there's a bit of malice and manipulation that's been happening? Or do you think that people genuinely can notice when someone really, really likes you? The DMs are open. On IG, it is @BreakTime on Westside. On Facebook, it is at Breaktime on Westside, and on Twitter, you can slide into my personal DMs at BagakaTheD. If you're tuning in from Castbox, then you can always go to the comment section and comment there. I always reply. Thank you so much for tuning in to Tweetstreet, and I will catch you guys on the next break. Take care.